The thieves in Silicon Valley decided, we don't like your politics, so A, we're going to take your money, and then B, we're going to give it to people we like.
As long as I participate in a government-approved protest, then I'm fine, right?
We're not going to put up with this hypocritical nonsense by big business.
Well, the Canadian government has been doing everything it can to stop and hinder the Freedom Trucker Convoy from continuing. They've been issuing $700 tickets to truckers parked downtown. They're confiscating and threatening to arrest anyone who brings supplies such as fuel to the truckers. They've declared Ottawa in a state of emergency, giving the police more power to begin towing and removing protesters. On top of it, the government has successfully pressured GoFundMe from dispersing the over $9 million remaining in the fundraised account. That's right. All of the money fundraised for the truckers will no longer be sent to them.
Senator, I've got to switch gears and talk about big tech censorship and your efforts to stop what's going on for the truckers. There's been censorship of their convoy in Canada, and also Facebook has removed their page for a DC rally. These truckers raised money in a GoFundMe situation, and the GoFundMe officials said, well, you want to protest a vaccine? We're going to seize your $10 million that you raised. Can you imagine? People donate to GoFundMe because they are donating to a certain cause. GoFundMe thought nothing of saying we're going to seize the $10 million and give it to the charities that we want to give it to.
There are 5 attorneys general that have announced investigations into GoFundMe, and Florida Governor Republican Ron DeSantis has talked about his attorney general going after this, Ashley Moody. This is a tweet sent by the governor. He says, it is a fraud for GoFundMe to commandeer $9 million in donations sent to support truckers and give it to causes of their own choosing. I will work with AG Ashley Moody to investigate these deceptive practices. These donors should be given a refund. Ultimately, that's what happened. But it has really garnered a lot of attention for GoFundMe, perhaps not what they would have wanted as people look to this site, and if that's how if they trust GoFundMe now to do what they say they're going to do with the dollars that are sent to the site.
Luckily, several states' attorneys generals agreed and threatened to file lawsuits on behalf of the donors. Now GoFundMe says they will automatically issue refunds to anyone who donated, something they should have done right from the beginning. Just so you know, had GoFundMe been allowed to reroute the money, they would have been able to keep their 3% fee, which is perhaps the reason why they didn't offer refunds automatically. That 3% fee on the $9 million confiscated is about $270,000. It's probably also why they were initially only offering refunds only if a form was filled out. They were banking on a good portion of people not knowing about it and not doing it, thus allowing them to reroute the money and still keep a portion for themselves. Extremely shady stuff.
It is theft on the part of GoFundMe. Let me say the Canadian truckers are heroes. They are patriots, and they are marching for your freedom and for my freedom. They are those truck drivers that, God bless them, they're defending Canada, but they're defending America as well. That is courage on display, that the government doesn't have the right to force you to comply to their arbitrary mandates. And they're standing up for freedom. And of course, big government hates it and is trying to crush them. Of course, the corporate media hates it and is trying to silence them. And big tech, you look at what GoFundMe did. People gave $10 million to support the Freedom Convoy because they were so proud of the courage of these truck drivers. And the thieves in Silicon Valley decided, we don't like your politics, so A, we're going to take your money, and then B, we're going to give it to people we like.
That is so dangerous to say, well, as long as I participate in a government-approved protest, then I'm fine, right? Like, as long as the government says this is a good one. This is,
or corporate
what is
America,
the point of
yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, the point of protesting is to go against these entities that are bigger than you, and the people amassing together to say, no, we the people are speaking up. We the people are saying we're not okay with this. And if we can't, as the people, rise up against government, rise up against big corporations, and it has to be sanctioned and approved by them, we have lost our right to protest at that point. And this is the path they're paving for us, is to lose our right to protest.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in these interesting little ways. You know, big tech says you're not allowed to. You know, big tech is going to shut down your ability to organize.
And so today, I sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission asking that the FTC open an investigation into GoFundMe into whether they've committed deceptive trade practices, because when people gave money, they gave money under the promise it would go to the Freedom Convoy, not to whatever left-wing political ideology GoFundMe and other Silicon Valley companies support. They are deceiving consumers, and it is wrong.
What steams me is their now their turnaround is just, okay, we're going to give you your money back. But that's not what the donors wanted. The donors wanted the money to go to the truckers. And somehow GoFundMe has decided that the truckers aren't worthy. I'll tell you what else steams me, Ashley, and I want you to respond to this. GoFundMe funded and facilitated donations to BLM. BLM, who, get billions of dollars in damages, looting, 34 people dead. Why is that okay? And this isn't. And isn't this absolutely discriminatory?
Well, think about this. Not only did they support that campaign when they took over a whole area and people were getting hurt, assaulted, there was even a death, they even sent out a separate tweet themselves to encourage more folks to donate to that cause. And that's what I'm saying. How in the world can you now come in and make a political judgment, impose your political will when folks are trying to support those standing up for their freedom, for their rights? And that's why Governor DeSantis is so effective and timely in saying, look, we're not going to put up with this hypocritical nonsense by big business.
And yet they continue to gaslight us by telling us these Canadians are separatists, white supremacists, science deniers who are violent and forcing residents to live in terror. And we see the videos coming from the protests in Ottawa, and it looks just like a bunch of dancing, singing, flag-waving Canadians. I mean, where are the burning buildings? Where are the smash and grabs? Where are the bloody brawls? But once again, we're told this other thing is happening that we can't see any verifiable evidence of.
So far, no one from the federal, provincial, or municipal government has spoken directly with us. Instead, they are using you, the media, to portray us as racists, misogynists, and even terrorists. As a woman with Métis heritage, a mother and a grandmother, I am offended. The reality is that members of this freedom movement are average, peace-loving, and law-abiding citizens from all walks of life who are fed up with being disrespected and bullied by our government.
And on top of this, it's important to remember the reason for this protest is because the government insists that if the truckers are vaccinated, the virus won't spread. This is the reason for the mandate. Justin Trudeau insists these protesters are dangerous science deniers, while he himself, triple vaxxed, is sick with COVID. How gullible do they think we are?
Another angle of this story is the challenge that the Ottawa police have been facing in the effort to shut down this demonstration. The chief of police last week talked about all options being on the table, including bringing in the military. That was pushed back on by other public officials as to that actually occurring. But there have been a number of arrests, at least half a dozen over the weekend. And there was also a warning issued advising the public that anyone that actually brings fuel to this demonstration in the red zone to the trucks could be subject to arrest. So it's pretty interesting to see this all unfolding, and it continues to unfold. This doesn't seem to be close to a conclusion.